Let's do that one. Okay, let's do that one. U.S. to pull some personnel from Middle East amid rising tensions with Iran. Okay. President Donald Trump announced on Wednesday the partial evacuation of U.S. personnel from the Middle East, stating they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and emphasized they can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple, and they can't have a nuclear amidst stalled nuclear talks with Iran. U.S. intelligence reports of Israel preparing strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. The State Department Wednesday advisory noted on June 11th, the Department of State ordered departure of non-emergency U.S. government personnel due to heightened regional tensions, authorizing voluntary departure from Bahrain and Kuwait, with Reuters reporting a planned evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The U.S. military presence in the region, including bases in Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and UAE, faces increased risk, with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth authorizing voluntary departure of military dependents, primarily from Bahrain, as a U.S. official confirmed. Michael, thoughts?
Well, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? Don't we all have to bomb some Middle Eastern country every single... I remember in 1998, I was 8 years old, and we were bombing Iraq. And I asked my mother why we're bombing Iraq. And she said, Michael, every American president has to bomb Iraq. That's just the true story. That's what she said.
What does she do?
My mother, she's since passed, but she was like a headhunter. She was not like snipe, like, in person. And, but she had a good political, she had worked in politics too. And so I'm not surprised by this. What is most notable about this to me is today, I don't care how confident people sound, nobody knows what Trump is going to do, what Trump is going to allow the State of Israel to do. No one knows really what's going to happen. And that is the Trump foreign policy. The ones who say he's a total dove and an isolationist, they are just wrong. The ones who say that he's a complete hawk and a neocon, they're obviously wrong. Trump is the guy who is a total dove, says we got to end the wars in the Middle East, we got to pull our troops home, and then goes and kills the top Iranian general. And he knows it too. So that is his strategy. And it's how, when it was reported that he said to Putin, hey, if you invade Ukraine on my watch, I'll bomb Moscow. Even if Putin thinks that's a 5% chance that happens, it's a 5% chance. You can't take that risk. So no one who tells you with confidence what is going to happen knows what he's talking about. However, it does seem likely to me there has been a major war cry for war in Iran, at the very least for the U.S. to allow Israel to do something, which is probably why we're evacuating the embassies. There is zero public appetite for a war in Iran. Two things I'll tell you that are true. There is zero public appetite for that. Yep. Trump's base will be furious if something occurs that could be interpreted as the U.S. going to war in Iran and committing troops there. No appetite. Okay, and Trump's political career and the new coalition he formed was formed in large part because he opposed the Iraq War. The other side is Trump is an imperialist, and he's a tough guy, and he's not a libertarian, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. That is not him. That's some of his supporters. That's not him. He also will not allow Iran to get a nuclear bomb on his watch because he also thinks that would be detrimental to his legacy. He won't let that happen. He's got to be the tough guy in the room. What that means for U.S. policy... Though. Say it again.
Those two ideas collide.
They collide. They do collide.
They're opposites.
Yes.
It's going to be tough with this one here. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, when those two ideas collide, you allow Mossad and Israel off the leash. It's very simple.
That might be happening now.
Yep. And I think am I predicting that? Kinda. Do I know that? Obviously not. But those two angles, Mike, I think you summarize those perfectly. And he's an imperialist this way. I'm going to go out, I'm going to, like Churchill, and says, well, what does Parliament think? Shut up, I'll be right back. It's just, that's the imperialist side. And then the other side is, I'm not going to let them have a bomb. Yeah. And so if it's really just centrifuges, he's got to listen to somebody other than the CIA. They're moments away. They're wiring a button at this very moment, because that's what you're going to get out of Nikki Haley, the military-industrial complex, and the CIA. So he's got to turn to it. Well, where do you go? Well, Israel knows that they have to stay tough, but they also know that they just can't be at a constant state of bombing everything around them and cause a coalition attack. They don't want that. But could they be surgical, and could you take them off the leash and say, okay, Bibi, Mossad, this is what we're going to do here? I think that's the play.
Adam.
I think there's three main players here. There's Iran, there's Israel, the United States. And I think the United States is trying to get a deal done. If there's anything we know about Trump, it's let's make a deal. And if you believe any of the reports here of what's going on in Iran right now, there's no deal in sight. Trump says Iran much more aggressive in nuclear talks. It's disappointing. Satellite photos reveal Iran's nuke program is still going on, vanishing roads and AI drones.
Surprise.
So Trump's trying to get a deal done, and Iran's like basically saying, F you. So now Trump is saying, okay, like, do you think Trump has a better relationship with Bibi Netanyahu or the Ayatollahs? Rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. Obviously, it's Bibi. And I think at some point, Trump said, okay, we're not getting a deal done here. They're not coming to the table with anything. All right, listen, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that I don't want a war. I don't want that my people want a war. So here's what I'm going to do. All the Americans, get the F out. Israel, you do what you got to do. I don't want a war. I don't need a war. Don't call me if you do this. But if you do this, this is your decision. Consult, great. I don't want any American troops here.
But the U.S. embassies are going to get hit.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, that's why they're getting out of there. Because if you know anything about Israel's doctrine regarding Iran, while Iran is shouting death to America, death to Israel, with a clock that says destruction of Israel, Israel's sitting there being like, I really don't want to have to blow you motherfuckers up. I really don't. But the one doctrine is preemptive strike. The best defense is a good offense, you know, they say in sports, or the best offense is a good defense, however you want to look at it. So they have three major components. They have number one, what's called the Begin doctrine, like Menachem Begin. And it's basically, if we're about to get nuked, get them first. That's numero uno. And then, you know, Bibi said a famous line, talking about Obama, about the famous red line. He said, red lines aren't meant to be drawn, they're meant to be enforced. If you do this nuclear thing, we're going to attack you. Straight up. Number two is the imminent threat, self-defense, which is essentially like a derivative of what number one is. And number three is we need to protect the neighborhood. And this is going to be a little controversial take. Israel's been fighting wars with everyone around them. And they all attacked first, right? The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and they go ping, ding, ping, ping, destroyed them all, also took down Syria. And now they're looking at Iran and being like, what have you ever won, bro? All you do is fund people to fight for you. And now they're all done. And now I'm like, what's up, homie? And Iran is like, oh, what are you going to do now? What's a war that Iran has won since 1979? I don't know, Iraq in the 80s? I don't know. So I think Israel's looking at saying, I don't want to do this, but we're going to strike them before they strike us. That's my opinion.
Well, here's what Trump said when he was asked about it, right? You know, removing soldiers. Here's President Trump.
Moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But we've given notice to move out, and we'll see what happens.
Is there anything that can be done to dial the temperature down in the region?
They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to allow that.
By the way, when he was, when they were negotiating with Obama, you know how long it took him to get the deal done? 2 years. So you know what Iran has? Patience. They're like, yeah, we're going to take our time. But they're dealing with a different guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this year going there.
Put yourself in Iran's position, though. If you're the mullahs and you say, okay, America, I know, you never want to put yourself in the position of the mullahs, but if you're them, you say, okay, you're telling me that you won't swap out my regime as long as I give up my nuclear program. Isn't that what you told Gaddafi? Like, how did it turn out for Gaddafi? I don't want to end up like Gaddafi. So I
at the end of the street, killed by your own people?
Yeah, and some of the stories were pretty gory, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's horrifying.
So if you're them, I understand, you know, it's, again, when I think about the libs in America, when I think about the mullahs in Iran, you can't just say, well, they're just total crazy lunatics. Yeah, sure, there's some of that. But from their perspective, or Vladimir Putin for that matter, from their perspective, what are they supposed to do? They cannot give up all of their enrichment and expect to stay in power.
Yeah. I never today expected you to say you wanted to one day wear a turban and like. You know, I was not expecting that.
I had no idea.
When we were being briefed,
hijab
I was not expecting that. But you know what? You're right. It is true that they don't trust America, and why would they? I can visualize them saying, "Who the hell are you to tell us we can't have a nuclear weapon?" Okay, great. So now
You're going to find out.
what are you going to do about it? So that's the part where what you're saying, he's in a very tough place.
Yeah.
The president is in a very tough place. And, you can, like, imagine how nuclear got with him and Musk. Okay. Yeah, that was nuclear. Lasted how long? 4 days, 5 days, 6 days of nuclear? And it went like this, boom, and then it was boom, right? And it's kind of like done. We're moving on to the next story. But if this goes nuclear, it's not a nuclear because it's a analogy you're using, it's going nuclear. No, it could go nuclear, and it could get very, very nasty with them. Nobody in the world wants it. So Iran is not one that is, is not willing to go there because they don't look at their people the way Americans will look at our people. They look at their people in a very different way. Yeah. And if Israel gets involved and they go to war and then they come back saying, I need weapons, I need money, how he's going to handle it's going to be very interesting because he's probably already told Bibi, hey, man, if you go there, you're on your own. So I don't know what that call sounds like either.
Is the Shah getting ready to come back? Is your fingers itching?
For him to come back? Yeah. No, I don't know. After my multiple interviews with him, I don't think he wants to go back to Iran. And I know he's getting a lot of momentum right now. But for Iran to have, the democracy that they're looking for, somebody needs to go back. Yes. And I don't know if that's going to be taking place. This weekend is Flag Day, okay? And we're celebrating a lot of different things. And in the whole respect of Flag Day, we have some new merch. An item that I don't know what happened. We launch it at midnight, and we send an email to the people that are insiders that buy merch, and it's gone already, but we have some of it still that's left, the numbered stuff that we have. Here's a clip about what's about to come out, and the new hat that's out. I have a feeling some of you guys are going to lose your mind, and you're going to want it ASAP, so go ahead and play this clip, Rob. I love that shit. Show me the hat.
Damn.
Oh, wow. It's a nice hat.
Limited edition, numbered hat. And these are the ones that comes in this box. It's numbered out of 250. And when you get it, there's a card inside with the hat here. I'm going to unwrap it. Chris said don't do it. Chris has got so many rules.
Sorry, Chris.
He's so creative. Creatives have a lot of rules.
Yeah, too late. Oh, that's
and
bad.
if you see this hat here, look at this. That's right. It's going to happen eventually. Future Looks Bright on the side with the Valuetainment on the back.
What
and Future Looks Bright
America
here.
this
is not numbered.
Vinny, it's like little Air Force guys.
I love it.
Everything there is going to be numbered. That'll come out to you. And there's a lot of, Rob, if you can go on other items, this is limited out of 250. So this will go out in the next hour, but you got other gear that you have with the American flag on it. Represent it, sport it, go to work, your flip-flops, the hats, shirts, whatever it may be. If you're proud to be an American and you love Valuetainment and Future Looks Bright, go represent, put the gear on, and go to vtmerch.com and get your latest numbered Future Looks Bright hat. Rob, if you can put the link below, go to vtmerch.com. By the way, if you go on eBay right now, it's crazy what's going on with these numbered hats that people buy and post them on here. That one right there to the left is 1 out of 250 guys selling it for $10,000. The other one is 43 out of $53,000. These are our limited edition hats that are on eBay. For some of you that don't buy it here, we will not reproduce this. This simply ends up being on eBay. So if you want to add it to your collection, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.